You're in a room full of conversation. Laughter moves around you like waves. And someone says, "You're so quiet." Not curious, not warm, just observed. In that moment, something subtle shifts. You begin to wonder if your silence is being mistaken for something else. Disinterest, sadness, arrogance, weakness. You wonder if people are filling the quiet with their own assumptions. The truth is, quiet people are often misunderstood, not because they lack something, but because others feel uneasy with what they cannot easily read. Silence leaves space, and many people don't know what to do with space. Imagine a child in a classroom, while others raise their hands eagerly. This child listens, watches, thinks. The teacher assumes the child isn't paying attention. Classmates assume the child has nothing to say. But inside that quiet mind, thoughts unfold slowly and carefully. Questions begin to form, connecting memories, emotions, half-finished ideas. The child isn't behind. They're processing. They're making sense of the world in their own time. Over time, the child learns something important, though no one ever says it out loud. Being quiet seems to invite judgment, so the child adapts. They either force themselves to speak, sharing thoughts before they're fully formed, or they retreat further inward, deciding it's safer not to be seen at all. Neither choice feels natural, but both feel necessary. As adults, this pattern often continues. Quiet people are told to come out of your shell, as if silence is something broken, something that needs to be fixed. They're praised when they act louder, more expressive, more visible, rarely when they simply are. Slowly, many begin to feel invisible, not because they lack presence, but because presence has been defined too narrowly, as if being real only counts when it's loud. Quietness is not emptiness, it is often depth. Many quiet people are naturally introspective. Their minds are wired to process information internally before expressing it outwardly. They don't think by speaking, they speak after thinking. Research shows quieter individuals often have a higher sensitivity to stimulation. They notice subtle changes, shifts in tone, body language, emotional undercurrents others overlook. A pause that lingers too long, a smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes, attention no one else names. To protect their mental energy, they observe first. Silence, for them, is not absence. It is regulation. There's also a psychological phenomenon called projection. When people feel uncomfortable around silence, they often project their own feelings onto it. They assume silence means judgment, or boredom, or rejection. But in reality, the quiet person may simply be present, listening, absorbing, existing without the need to perform. Silence becomes a mirror, and not everyone is comfortable with what it reflects. Another layer comes from culture. Modern life rewards visibility. Confidence is often measured by volume, leadership by dominance. From a young age, we're taught, subtly and constantly, that to matter, you must be noticed, that if you're not speaking up, you're falling behind. So when someone doesn't compete for attention, they're often misread as lacking confidence, when in truth, they may be deeply self-assured. Quiet people often build their sense of self internally, not through constant feedback, not through approval or validation. They don't need to be seen to know who they are. From the outside, this can look like detachment, like distance, like disinterest. But psychologically, it often reflects emotional independence. Consider a woman at work who rarely speaks in meetings. She listens while others talk over one another. She notices which ideas repeat, which concerns go unanswered. Her coworkers assume she has no strong opinions, but when she finally speaks, the room goes quiet, not because she demands attention, but because her words land with clarity. She has been listening all along, connecting ideas others missed, seeing patterns beneath the noise. Her silence was never disengagement. It was preparation. Quiet people often speak less because they value precision. Words are not filler to them. They are tools. So when they choose to speak, it is intentional. There is a quiet strength in being able to sit with your thoughts, to resist the urge, to fill every pause, to allow meaning to form before expression. In a world that reacts instantly, quiet people often respond deliberately. They feel deeply, but they don't broadcast it. They process emotions instead of performing them. This doesn't make them distant. It makes them grounded. The lesson isn't that quiet people need to change. It's that understanding needs to deepen. Silence is a language. It speaks through presence, observation, and emotional awareness. When we stop assuming that loud equals confident and quiet equals insecure, we begin to see people more clearly. And when quiet people stop internalizing the world's misunderstandings, they begin to trust their own rhythm. You don't need to explain your silence to anyone who refuses to listen. You don't need to perform extroversion to be valuable. Your way of moving through the world is not wrong. It's different, and difference often carries wisdom. The calm strength of quiet people lies in their ability to remain steady in a noisy world, to listen when others rush to speak, to choose words carefully, to respond instead of react. And when they are finally understood, it is not because they became louder. It is because someone finally slowed down enough to see them. If you are a quiet person, know this: your silence is not a void. It is a space where thought, empathy, and meaning grow. And if you know someone who is quiet, try listening without filling the gaps. You may discover a depth you didn't expect. The world doesn't need everyone to speak at once. Sometimes the most important truths arrive softly, and sometimes they stay with us the longest.